Alrighty guys, welcome back to another episode of One Percenters. Today I am very excited because we'll be speaking to Julie Smith-Nestor, who is a BDR with 20 plus years of sales experience, the co-founder of Sassy Sales Moms, which is a place for SDRs to sharpen their skills and to break into tech. And most importantly, she is a full-time mom. So I'm so happy to have you on today. How are you feeling today?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited.
Exactly. Yeah, me too. I was really excited because, doing research, before getting on the podcast, I learned to see how much of a hard worker you are. And I always wonder, how do people get there? How do people get to where they are today? So if you don't mind, I was wondering, can you tell us a little bit about your story and how you were able to develop such a strong but yet loving mindset in the corporate space?
Oh, that's so sweet, Laurent. Well, definitely. I can definitely share. It's kind of like I always joke about it. I'm kind of not young. So it's kind of a deep history. But, it started, my work ethic and everything about my work started from my parents. And I guess a lot of that for some of us is the case. And my parents had crazy work ethic. My mom was a teacher until she passed away. She was a teacher, and she was a very, very hard worker. She was one of those types where, you had to, if you wanted to miss a day of school, something, you had to be bleeding out or something had to be seriously going on. I mean, I don't know what she would have thought of COVID. That would have blown her mind because missing school was just, not something you did. But anyway, my father was the same, just a really hard worker, and he was a founder of a company called MBNA America, which was a credit card company. And it was really cool. It was a very intense company to be a founder of, to even work for. And the work ethic, I really can't explain to you the company, the work ethic that company instilled. And I did get to start my career there, which was a blessing. And
wow.
I mean, a lot of people said that it was too much. A lot of people said it was kind of too intense. But if you worked hard at MBNA, you were promoted, you had great experience. We had worldwide, crazy training, sales training, leadership training. So that's where my work ethic got started. As a woman, my father, he really prepared me from a young age. He was like, it's going to be harder for you. You're going to have to do this. You're going to have to wear turtlenecks. You're going to have to wear, because if I got nervous, my neck would get red. And he was like, you have to cover that up. It's important that they don't see that. Things like that. He was always prepping me. And
I got my turtleneck on today.
See, me too. No, that's not why. But anyway, he was always, prepping me just to be a leader because he knew that I would want to be, but he knew that it would be hard. And for me, my story got hard. I got into pharmaceutical sales, which was really cool. Unfortunately, my mom and dad passed away. And so I ended up leaving MBNA because it was bought out by Bank of America, and it was a really good time to leave because they offered great severance package. And I got into pharmaceutical and medical device sales, which was really awesome. I love medical device sales. Right. I do. And then, unfortunately, I had a really awful, my ex-husband became abusive, and it was a really bad situation. I ended up having to leave him, and we had 4 children together. So I was a single mom of 4 kids, and it was kind of crazy. It was very intense. Wow. I did live with my mother for a while before she passed away, which was awesome, but unfortunately she passed away pretty quickly after we moved in with her. So that was unfortunate. Both my parents one had lung cancer and my mother had breast cancer. And so it was just really, a struggle, and being a single mom with 4 kids and trying to be in, outside sales, business to business sales as medical device. I got into payroll type sales, and I started working for paychecks, and I just was hustling whatever I could. It did not work out. I mean, it was just too much. I was spending $1,500 a month on childcare. Do you know what I mean?
Wow.
So I ended up just leaving that space and going freelance before freelance was a thing. It was about 2010,
Mm-hmm.
2011, and I just started doing whatever. I was helping people build their social media on Twitter, Tumblr, um, anywhere they could. We did a lot of oh, I'm blanking on it, but we did the quick video reel. I'm blanking on it, but it was awesome, and then it went away.
Oh
Vine,
yeah.
loved it.
Oh yeah,
Loved
Vine.
Vine,
Yeah.
but it was short lived. And Twitter was like the best, but it was a really great place to learn about marketing, to learn about social media, personal branding, and all of that. And then I met my husband that I've been married to for 10 years, and he's been an awesome father to our children. And I tried to get back into my career. So I've always been in sales. It was really hard
Mm-hmm.
because I had to break back in. It's not easy as a woman to do at all.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, "Where you been?" I'm like, "I don't know, hustling." But
You really
yeah,
have
I
though.
was
You've
hustling.
been
I mean, I made
working.
a lot of money too, but it is what it is. And so I did hospitality sales. I love that. COVID hit. That ended hospitality sales.
COVID.
Got
Yeah.
into new home sales. Loved new home sales like the best. But then,
New home
yeah, I
sales.
was selling new homes. It was like awesome. But we found out last year that my husband has a brain tumor. And when I told my employer at the time, I asked for some leniency on my goals for the month of November. They were like, "No, sorry.
Wow.
You either sell two homes or you're fired." I did not. So
That's
I didn't sell two
crazy.
homes. Laurent, I got fired. I couldn't believe it. December 4th, I got fired. So
Man.
anyway, that's how I decided to find some other sales, and it led me to SaaS
Mm-hmm.
because I love cold calling. I've been one of those people. Have you ever heard the term pound the pavement? I've door to door sold
Right.
many times in my career, and I've cold called a lot. So being able to work from home in SaaS sales was really like a cool. Like it seemed like a really very cool idea. I wanted to be a manager. That's what I thought was going to happen
Mm.
because of all my experience. I was like, why would I start over? But that's just not how it works in SaaS. So,
Yeah.
so here we go, and that's where I came from.
Man, your story is absolutely amazing, and I can see like how it built a lot of character going through, a lot of different experiences in your life has really, built you to be, such a tough person, but also a loving person that you are today.
Thank you.
So that is absolutely amazing. Man, I just have to like think about like a lot of the different stuff you were talking about. It's really cool to see like how you were, kind of at the start of all like the, Twitter and all like the, personal branding and all those things as well. I just think it's like very interesting. And I was reading one of your posts that really stuck out to me, and I think it will be good for our listeners to hear this as well. But it seems that you have a really big focus on customers. And the phrase is, think of yourself as a customer. And it kind of has become somewhat of a mantra to you. What does that phrase mean to you, and how can others apply that to themselves and in their careers?
Well, it is a huge mantra for me. Like I say the customer, I'm customer obsessed, or I put the customer first. Like that's really true. That started from MBNA. At the company where I worked, they
Mm-hmm.
put over every door, like think of yourself as the customer, or put the customer first, or whatever it was. They painted over all the doorways, everything. We had to capitalize the word customer, always C, capital C.
Capital C.
And the paychecks that we got said brought to you by the customer. We always focused on the customer. And when
Wow.
it became very deep, it was a very deep, innate thing that we learned about. And when you think about customer in your life, there's lots of customers, right? Like right now,
Right.
I have many customers in my life. I have my family. And this might sound really weird, but this is true. My family is my customer. Like
Mm-hmm.
my goal is to provide an awesome environment for them, so they're my customer. My employer is my customer because I'm employed by them, but I want to do good by
Right.
them. And then I have my
Yeah.
customer because I sell. So Flowsome is who I work for, so our customers and partners there. And to me, if you always focus on the customer, and I believe this, and I've seen this happen and be true, if you truly believe and focus on the customer, you will always be successful. It's not, it's true. So like even in sales, like right now, if I focus on booking meetings and how many meetings do I have to book and that type of thing, sometimes I will hit my goal, and I bet I could probably crush it sometimes, really do good. But in general, it might not. I might not crazy go out the water. Nobody will understand why. I'm doing all the things. But the reason why is because I'm so
Right.
focused on my KPIs and my goals and me, focused on myself. But if I focus on the customer every day, like tomorrow when I get started, if I focus on my customer who are, they're DevOps, they're, Salesforce admins, Salesforce devs, and their problems and what sucks for them and those types of things, if I focus on those things, really care about it, every time I interact with them, whether it's through email or phone call, I'm going to get closer to helping them solve a problem and actually providing like great customer experience. It's because it'll be pure intent of just wanting to be helpful. People say that's kind of crazy, but it's 100% true. Like when I focus on that, I always knock it out the park. It's not. It's just naturally happens.
Yeah, I definitely agree too. That was something that I kind of had to do like a mindset shift on recently, is because I just started, I really just kind of started in SaaS sales myself. But one of the big things that I had to learn was like, I'm not really trying to like sell them. Like, don't try to like sell them on this. Like, it's better to do what you're there for. You're there to qualify them, see if this would be a good fit for them, and if it's something that can, help them, and then you go ahead, and go through that process. But that should be first, like you said, customer first. So you want to make sure this product is right for the customer, not that you're trying to force a product, on them that isn't a good
Yeah.
fit. But that really was a big mindset shift for me as well.
And it is hard to shift your mindset when you're in sales to focus on that because it's not innate to do. When I worked for MBNA and even when I worked in hospitality sales, there was always an impression that everybody's selling. So it doesn't matter what department you are in, you're still always selling. You're always adding revenue, adding value to that relationship. And it's it doesn't have to come off as salesy if it's something that helps and you listen. You know what I mean? So when you're listening to people, whether you're listening to the customer who's upset or you're listening to the customer who is not even a customer yet, when you're able to listen and hear them, then you're able to really connect and solve problems. Like you said, qualifying is a big part of what we do. Um, we don't want to waste people's times. You want to have, for me, I want every meeting that I book to be an opportunity that's qualified that then becomes a sale. Like, I want that. That's important to me. I'm a full cycle BDR type of person. So, like, I get committed. Like, if I book a meeting, it's because I think, yeah, this is it. Let's go. I think
Yeah.
that's important. And when you do that, you will have more successful meetings and they will be more opportunities. They will show up more. You don't have to worry about people showing up to your meetings if you don't trick them into going. Like, you know what I mean?
Exactly, yeah. I think that is like absolutely perfect, how you describe that. And definitely I think, active listening is very, important too. Because before, when I first started in my sales job, I was just like, okay, if they say anything, I'm just gonna do, a rebuttal. I'm just gonna, push the call. I'm just gonna go ahead and use the call. But I came to realize, actually listening to what they're saying, and being direct about, their needs and things like that is, honestly 1,000% better. Because all you're doing when you push the call back is you're just pushing back their objection, and it's just gonna come back again. So it doesn't really fix anything.
Yeah.
But for me, trying to balance, creating content and also working full time has been a struggle for me. So I wanted to ask you, how are you able to keep such a good work-life balance? You're able to still post, you're able to have a community that you help SDRs and BDRs with, and you have a family as well. So, what's the secret? Do you have like a certain scheduling thing you do, or, how are you able to do that?
You know, I am seriously ADHD. No, I'm just kidding. I am. That's the secret. No, I would say that it's my work life balance is questionable. People don't necessarily like. I have a very unique idea of what I consider work life balance. When I became a
Mm,
freelancer, my family became very used to me working when I needed to work, which was always really cool though because I could be there for them when they needed me to be there for them, but I could also sometimes have to be focused on work that's not normal times that moms are focused on work. As a result,
right.
we've always learned to kind of ebb and flow with each other like that. My kids, as you could imagine, are extremely involved in a lot of things. Like I have three daughters in college, and my son is in high school,
Oh wow.
and they're all just extremely overprogrammed by choice. They just do that, and so we're just that's how we are as a family. So our work family
Mm,
balance is something that's constantly moving and changing, but it's like a we understand that we love each other and that we're always going to be there for the important things, and
right.
communication's important, and and then we can all do what we want to do and be successful at doing what we want to do. So it's um, I think
Right.
communication has been the biggest thing in our family. We've been through a lot as a family, and then coming together with my
Yeah.
husband 10 years ago, that's hard. Like, and he is a strong, he's definitely a type A dude. And so
Hmm.
we, immediately kind of came up with a communication and the way it was going to work for our family. And I think that that's what works. Like for an
Yeah.
example tonight, like, my husband and I, like, we like watching, I forget what it's called. It's not Game of Thrones, but it's the new, like spin-off of the prequel.
Oh, I know what you're
Yeah.
talking about. I don't recall the name of it, but I
Well,
know.
it's like a
Yeah.
free HBO weekend, so we were trying to watch it all this weekend. And he was like, "Oh, dang." I was like, "I know we have one left, but I got to go." And he was like, "Oh, no." But like it's okay because we knew, you know what I mean? Like it wasn't like he knew that I had this and it was something that I already had planned and it's fine. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like
You know what? I definitely, I definitely want to thank you again for
no, yeah. I
coming
mean, we
on, to the
listen.
show
We
again.
watched that like for 4 hours yesterday and for 4 hours today. Like it was we had to.
Man,
It's like a binge watch thing.
must be good though. Is it good?
It is good. Not as good as Game of Thrones. Not as good as that. I love Game of
Mm,
Thrones, but it's pretty good. It's pretty good. It's crazy,
nice.
you know.
Yeah.
We watched 1899. 1899. Now that was a good one.
Oh, I started watching that. I started watching the first couple of episodes. I like very mysterious kind of shows. I'm only like two
I'm
episodes
telling you
in, but
what,
it's
it
very
just gets
interesting.
crazier, man. It's like,
Oh yeah.
yeah, you really have to focus. You know what I mean? And you can't not pay attention to that show. You know what I mean?
Right.
So,
Yeah, there's a lot of like good shows out there. If you guys are listening, definitely check out those
oh
two
yeah, they're
shows.
good.
Like those are really good shows to check out.
Yeah.
Man, that's super cool though. I think that is really important though, just setting those expectations beforehand. I feel like, if there is no expectation set and then, someone tries to like break off schedules or not, maybe they're not there, but someone doesn't understand, then it becomes an issue. But once you set those expectations and you set those boundaries and everything, it just goes well. Everyone has an understanding. So I think that is really good to, take into mind and to consider that as
Yeah,
well.
and it's important. Like we have a good we text. We have a group text. It gets kind of crazy, but we're very good about communicating like that. But then we also have like one of my
Hmm.
daughters is like she has so many unopened texts. It's outrageous. So we also have to call her and make sure that we tell her the things on the phone. You know what I mean? Like, and so
Right.
it's just also making sure you know what everybody's communication style is, and that that's always a work in progress for us. Like when our girls went to college,
Mm.
we were lucky because they all went locally to us. We have one at Virginia Tech,
Oh,
and then we had two at University of Radford or Radford University. I don't know what they call it there, but and
okay.
then it's like 10 minutes from our house, so it's really lucky because we're close. But on the other hand, like it's a lot for them to juggle because if they went far away, they wouldn't feel like they had to come home for every birthday, but they do. They come home for every birthday. Like my husband's birthday's coming up on Thursday.
Ooh,
Yeah.
ooh, early happy birthday
Thank
to
you.
him.
Yeah, and so they'll all come over. We'll cook. I don't know what we'll cook them. We'll cook them something. Who knows what?
Something
He's the
good.
cook, really. So, like, I have downstairs barbecue. He made barbecue. Yummy. Yeah.
Mm, that sounds
Yeah,
good.
he's a good cook. He really is. He makes a really good like a vinegar based sauce for the barbecue, and then it's like a pulled pork barbecue. Yeah,
Right.
that's what it is.
Yeah, you cannot go wrong with that. That sounds
Yeah,
so
it
good.
is. It's real good. But yeah, so we balance our. I feel like I have a great work and working from home. I mean, I'll tell you that is the most amazing thing. Like with my husband, having a brain tumor, it's been hard, but being able to be with him is just I cherish every moment, and working from home makes it so much easier. I don't have a commute. I don't have to, you know, we can eat lunch together sometimes. Like there's just, you know what I mean? Like it's just it's for me, it's
Yeah,
such a better way of living. My quality of life is so much better. Yeah.
absolutely. I 1000% agree because before I was doing like the SaaS sales and everything like that, I used to work at like Amazon, and that like the work life balance for that was not like it wasn't the same. Like if I went to work, I would come home and like I would be asleep, and that would be like, my entire
Oh,
day. There wouldn't be any like interaction
yeah.
because I live with my girlfriend, but there would be no interaction like between us at that point. So I would go to work, come home, go to sleep, and then I would have 2 days off. But since I worked like such a strange schedule, I worked from 6 p.m. to 5
Mm,
p.m. or 6 p.m. to 5 a.m. So when I would come home in my day off, I would sleep like half the
mm,
day. So I had like a day and a half off. But switching from that to now being able to work from home is like it's such a blessing.
yeah.
Like now like I have like multiple breaks. I just walk out my room and just go talk to my
Yeah.
girlfriend. We chat, we eat lunch together. Like you said, I don't have the commute. I like as soon as I open the door, I'm at home already. So
Yeah.
like this it's just
I
amazing.
agree. Yeah. And there's blurred lines. I mean, I will admit that I can overwork. It's a problem that I have. One way that I stop myself from overworking one job is I have a lot of side hustles. So like today, I spent my whole day.
Mm.
I just became approved as an Amazon influencer. Yeah, so I went
Ooh,
live
okay.
today, and like I got my page going, and so I just do things like that. But I pretty much always work. It's like I like to work.
Right. I mean, there's definitely nothing wrong with that. I too like to work. I have a lot of side hustles or things that I'm kind of involved in too. Like for a while, I was really interested in. I know you probably know about Amazon FBA.
Hmm.
You might know about
Yeah.
that. I was also very interested in like. Do you know about like SMMA?
No.
Social. It's a social media marketing
Oh
agency.
yes, yeah. Hmm.
So yeah, I know you definitely
Hmm.
done it, but just a phrase wasn't there. But you've definitely done it, basically where you manage people's social
Yeah.
medias, or you do Facebook ads or Google ads and keep them on like a monthly
Yeah.
retainer. I was trying to do that for a while, so I definitely agree. Having those side hustles is something that's really invigorating. You learned a lot of new
Hmm.
skills, and you have a lot of knowledge under your belt. So I love having hobbies. They're
Yeah.
awesome.
Exactly. I love it too.
And I see, you're like very active on your LinkedIn, and you've created a personal brand, and you're even the co-founder of Sassy Sales Moms, which is an amazing place for SDRs who are looking to break into tech and also level up their skills. So I wanted to ask you, has building a personal brand helped in your career and opened up doors for you, or do you even think it's a good idea for someone to start that?
I think it's a really, for me, well, first of all, yes, building a personal brand on LinkedIn has helped my career. Even from like like when I first started like rebuilding my career, to get into the hospitality sales, I used LinkedIn.
Hmm.
Someone found me on LinkedIn. Same with the new home sales job. Same with the jobs. All the jobs I found on LinkedIn. So,
Right.
but I will say that everybody can't just. It's hard to build a personal brand, and I do think you can do harm to some extent if you aren't careful. You know what I mean about what you're doing. I
Yeah.
think it's awesome. Like that's what I love about LinkedIn right now is that it's like this huge resource where you can go and learn everything, right? And you can learn so much. And I think when people like go out there and kind of just start being authentic and sharing about themselves, I think their personal brand can kind of naturally evolve and then become
Right.
their personal brand. So, like, my personal brand is a smiling mom. And a smiling mom has started back in 2009 on MySpace. And so like it's
Wow.
evolved. It the concept has always been the same though, is that as a mom, all I want is for everybody to be successful. I want everyone to be happy and successful, and so that we can all live fulfilling lives. I want all of us to be kind and good humans, and just treat each other well. And so that's been my brand ever since I can remember. And it's different everywhere I go, a little bit here, a little bit there, different. And LinkedIn was the only social media place where it had never, I'd never become. Like, it never shared a smiling mom. It was my resume. It was just my
Right.
living resume. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I really, I started watching people like Darren. Do you know Darren McKee?
I don't think
Oh,
so. I'm gonna look him up now
you
though,
should look
but
up Darren McKee. Darren McKee,
right.
he was what I would say is the first person on LinkedIn who truly influenced me to start sharing and developing a real personal brand. I had done all the
Right.
normal LinkedIn stuff where I'd shared about my whatever I was selling at that time, or I had promoted people who were looking for jobs, whatever it was. Um, but then I learned from Darren, I think it's today or maybe it's tomorrow, he will have posted for 1,000 days in a row on LinkedIn.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
Yeah. Isn't that
That's
crazy?
amazing. It's so hard to do that.
Every
Yeah.
day for 1,000 days. Now I found him last year around. So I got laid off from the builder. I was not happy. I didn't handle it in a way that I'm very proud of necessarily. I was very angry. I was like, I just
Yeah, I would too,
I was
honestly.
really upset. Yeah, I was really upset.
Yeah.
I had sold a lot of homes for them. I don't know. It just really sucked. It wasn't what I thought. I had been told that we were like a family. You know what I mean? Like, it had started
Yeah.
to become less and less like a family for a lot of other things that happened. But it is what it is. And sometime around February, I was like, you know what? You need to just pull up your big girl panties and get back to work. Like, this is nobody cares. Nobody cares. Like, it's life isn't fair at all. And you just keep realizing that. And nobody cares. So you can either lay around and cry about it, and your family can just continue to be dug into a hole, or you can just figure it out. And so I was like, dang it, I got to figure this out. And Darren McKee, I started reading his post every day, and he's just so inspirational, and he's in sales. And I'm like, what does this dude sell? Like, what kind of sales is he in? And he's in SaaS sales. And he started something called SaaS Bros with his brother,
Oh, SaaS Bros.
Eric McKee.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I definitely know Eric 'cause I follow him on
Yes.
LinkedIn. I gotta follow his brother
Yes.
too. Yeah, that's
Yes, and
awesome.
so I was like, well, I got to get right around that time. They came out with their little book about, like, Eric came out with his little playbook on how to break into SaaS sales and then how to crush it, right? So I got it. I'm like,
Wow.
okay, I'm going to figure this out. Like, let's do this. And so I started to realize that I could bring my personal brand, I could bring it to here because it was really hard to break into SaaS. Eric talked about it as being an older guy. It was hard for him. And now for me, being an older woman, I'm like, this is outrageous. Like, why is this so hard, And so I learned a lot along the way. I learned a lot. And what I realized was that, like, there's a lot of, like, awesome tools out there. There's a lot of really not so awesome tools out there. And we could really help each other out if we just, like, shared. And I found Reb Genius, which Jared Robin,
Right.
I don't know if you know Jared Robin,
Ah.
but I'm obsessed with
Yeah,
Jared.
I'm a member in
He's
there.
okay. Well, Jared is like my basic hero, angel, awesome man. But anyway, I found Rev Genius, and Rev Genius was how I figured it out. I was like, okay, I can do this. I can break into SaaS sales, and Jared Robin's going to help me do it. And I started doing the cold calling, and I started realizing, like, yeah, my brand is always the same. Like, I like to call, I like to talk on the phone to customers. I love customers. I love people. It's my brand, and so I just brought it here and nurtured it. And it led me to Shanda Christ, who is my co-founder of Sassy Sales Moms. And
Oh, you guys got the hoodies. That's also awesome.
I know. I do make. I'm a Cricut maker. I love to create on my Cricut. Yeah. And so I love it. And so I had to make the hoodie. And this is my dark social hat from Rev Genius, which I'm very proud of.
That's so cool.
I love it so much. But yeah, building this personal brand, I would say this year I started really building it in, I would say, March. Maybe April was when I got really serious, and took a little bit of a break because I got a job, and then I got sidetracked. And I will say that I struggle, and I don't know if you mentioned this, but I do struggle very, very much with being a creator. I tried to explain this to my manager the other day, and I really sucked at it, so I'll try to explain it to you. I struggle with the balance of being a creator in my creative side, and then my sales side and my very professional sales side, if that makes any sense. So, like,
right,
you know what I mean? Like, you can't just turn it on and off. I have a large TikTok following, and so I like to make TikToks and do all that. And like I told you, I did the Amazon Live, and I find it a struggle to balance all of that in a way that is consistent for my friends. Because what I've learned about social media, and this is just advice for everybody, this is just 100% free advice. This is the secret.
Take notes, guys. Take notes.
Consistency is it. That's it. Like, you show up every single day in the same real way, you will do well. If you force it, and you go hard, and then you go soft, and then you go hard, and then you go soft, like, consistency is it. It is with every platform that I've ever been on. It's consistency, but not just, I don't just mean like, oh, show up and throw a post. I mean, like, consistency all the way around, like engaging with your friends, getting to know them, giving, taking, the whole thing, posting, creating. And when you show up every single day in a consistent way, I've never seen somebody fail. Literally ever.
That is so true. That is so true. That is something that I really had to learn recently, because I think one of the biggest struggles for me that I've always had is that I'm very much so like a very intense person. When I do something, I'm super passionate about it, but my attention would be like diverted. So like I told you, I had a bunch of side hustles, but I would do one, then I was like, okay, let me do this, let me do this, let me do this, let me do this. And then before you know it, I don't finish any of them. And then like I'm not consistent on any of them at all, and I end up failing. So the first thing that I've actually been consistent on was literally doing SaaS sales, getting into it, taking a course, going through the course, learning about it. And even recently, I've been trying to build my own personal branding. It's been going pretty good. I gained a lot of followers recently, and I would say that's mainly just from being consistent. And something that I think was really important for me was just providing value, just giving pure value to people. Don't try to like make any watered down content that you're trying to like build up some ebook later to give off to people or sell it or something like that. Just give pure, unadulterated value to people, and they'll really appreciate that and follow you. And I really learned that from this guy, from two people. I would say there's this guy, his name is Naval Ravikant, I think his name is. He provides really good value. He had like a little Twitter thread that went super viral, that even became a book and even became like a mini podcast just based off his Twitter thread. It was called How to Become Rich. It was just like a really in-depth, detailed like description of what you need to do. I think that guy was like a SaaS startup founder, angel, whatever you call it. He was everything. So I learned a lot from him. And then another creator, his name is Alex Ramosi. I learned a lot from him as well. And Hala Taha they taught me a lot of different stuff as well. But like absolutely, like you said, being consistent is so important.
It's
100%.
interesting because it's so simple, but like it's also so easy to not do. Like, it just because like a lot of people are like, oh, does it have to be the same day every time? Does it have to be this? Like, you don't like you can be consistently inconsistent. Like some people post throughout the day all randomly. Some people post every day at 10 and every day at 3. Like that's perfectly great because that works for you. But once you start getting
Mm-hmm.
your friends used to seeing you there and bringing, them the value at that time, then if you're not there, it's like, oh, I guess they're not there anymore. Like, it's very quick. Like it's a very quick thing. So consistency when you're building a
Right.
following, and that's what Darren really McKee really shows me or shows anybody, because
Mm.
if you look at Darren's content, not that I'm not saying he doesn't do good content. His content's awesome. He's a great writer, and his storytelling
Mm-hmm.
skills are extremely good. I'm sorry, my dog is not doing good. But his storytelling
Sorry.
skills are really awesome. But he doesn't do all kinds of crazy like carousels or videos,
Mm.
or like he's just totally real, 100% real, and he shares like just the funniest things, sometimes just real funny things, sometimes good sales things, sometimes good advice.
Right.
And so you always, I don't know, I feel like everybody trusts Darren because that's what he's created, right? And so
Right.
that just goes to show, like, you don't have to be an expert at something, but then you also don't have to go out there and say you're an expert. So when I say be careful about personal brand, that's why I say, you want to be careful, because I see a lot of people who want to go out and build their personal brand, and they go hard and they start giving advice, and I'm like, what are you talking about? Like seriously, like what's going on right now? Like you literally
Right.
aren't ready to give that type of advice yet. Like, or you are, but I don't know. It just comes off very I don't know, and a lot of people have been hurt. I had a post that, it really kind of hit a nerve for a lot of people yesterday. I posted about, the bad side of LinkedIn. And I
Right.
posted that because, I was impacted when I was really desperately looking for a job. I was impacted by these people,
Mm-hmm.
some people who said that they were like a coach or they were going to help me get money. And I had a couple different things that happened. And it really sucked. And I luckily am very, I don't know, I've grew up in Baltimore. I am just not easily, I don't know, so my red flags, I didn't get burnt too bad. But I did find out that other people have been
That's
getting
good.
burnt way bad. And it makes me very mad
Right.
because right now there are a lot of people who are looking for jobs, and it is a desperate knowing how that feels at this time of year. It's desperate. It's a
Mm-hmm.
desperate time of year to be looking for a job. That's one of the reasons why Shanda and I started Sassy Sales Moms, is because, Sassy Sales Moms, yeah, we are a place that can help you help you find a tech sales job, a SaaS sales job, and help you be better at your tech sales job. But the way that we do that, and what's a little bit different, is that, it's more about like your motivation and your inspiration and working on your whole self, and sharing and protecting each other. And one of those things
Yeah.
is protecting people from the predators out there on LinkedIn. And there are out there. There are people out there who are going to try to charge $150, and they're going to tell you that they're going to help you, for an hour. They're going to charge $150, and they're going to help you, coach you to your next sales job. And I'm like, I
Crazy.
literally do that for free to anybody who wants to have a meeting. Like, what is going on in this world that we're charging? Like, I do see a value in coaches, so don't get me wrong. I pay for coaches. I see a big value in coaching. I see a big value in
Mm-hmm.
resume writing, but it has to come from somebody who knows what they're doing, who's gotten results. You know
Exactly.
what I
Yeah.
mean? And
Mm-hmm.
that's what's gotten a little bit hard on LinkedIn, is that because people are out there building their personal brand, it's whatever they say it is. And some people are very good at building their personal brand. That doesn't mean it's backed with any type of like reality. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Exactly. Yeah, I 100% get what you're saying. And that was one thing that I noticed about you actually is because I like to like look at other people for inspiration. So I have like looked at your page and kind of see like what you do, especially when I was like, well, I'm still building my personal brand, but like very early on before I had like even 300 followers, I was looking like at your page and I was like, "Huh, what does she do?" And I was like, "Oh, she has like coaching." So I clicked on your link, and then I was like, okay, coaching. And I was like, what do I pay? Well, what do I pay for the coaching? And I noticed that you don't charge. And I was like, wow, that is absolutely, amazing because everyone else that I noticed, I click on their link and they're like, okay, you pay like, I saw one person, they were charging like a crazy amount. It was like, I'm saying like a thousand
yeah.
dollars, I think, for like coaching. I was like, that's insane. Like, what do you do? But I definitely understand like what you're saying and where you're coming from. You definitely have to watch out for people like that, for sure,
Yeah, I mean,
100%.
there's some coaches out there that are amazing, and I've had some awesome coaches. Like to me, especially in sales, I look at sales as like as I equate everything to sports, but I look at sales as like sports, and so you have like a pitcher, like my son who's a pitcher, and
Oh,
you get coaches, right? You get special coaches to help you through certain things, and you pay for those coaches if you need to,
mm-hmm.
or you move to the teams and have the best coaches, or you want to be on the team with the coaches. So I see this
Right.
such a value in coaching, but I just see a lot of them popping up. I offer it. The reason why I do it for free is mostly just because one, I miss managing a team and I miss coaching people, and I love helping people hit their goals. Like I just love it. like
It's such a great
it's an
feeling.
awesome feeling. That's why I love managing people in sales because like it's so cool when everyone's out there crushing it. We're all making max bonus and everybody's happy, and it's just such a fun feeling when you come together and do it. And sales
Mm-hmm.
has like a very bad reputation in every industry that I've worked in as being very competitive and not team focused, but that's wrong. It doesn't have to be that way. Like we can
Right.
all be successful. Like we really can. And that's when we all do it together. That's when I always see the most, success. So, yeah, I love it. So, and
Yeah.
that's why I like coaching. But
Yeah.
yeah, so hopefully, with Sassy Sales Moms, hopefully we can help guide people in the right direction. Hopefully, it's a place where they can go the Slack channel and be like, "Hey, I just heard of so and so Yahoo coaching. Is that cool?" And we can be like, "No," or "Yeah, maybe I don't know." You know what I mean? Like just a place, but
Right.
it's also a place where there's a lot of rules in SaaS sales, like interviewing, things you should say, things you shouldn't say.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's a good place to be able to go where you don't have to feel like you're on stage at all. Like when you're at Rev Genius, when you're anywhere else, and I say this with 100%. I don't care what anybody tells you. You are
Mm-hmm.
always putting yourself out there on these public forums, and you should always be on your best. Like you should always be as if your employer is watching you, your future employer is watching you, and never think that that's not the case. It is. It is just always is because you're in these forums with other people who could be your boss, who you could work on their team, like all these things, and it's very important to always keep that in mind. That being said, there is a place, and that's Sassy Sales Moms, where you can come and be like, "Is this person a jerk?" or or whatever. Like you can actually say what you want to say because we're
Right.
not there trying to hire, and we make a big deal out of that. Maybe it pushes people away, but in the forum, it's important. Like just say what you want to say. So we haven't gotten anything crazy yet,
Exactly.
but hopefully people feel
Yeah.
comfy.
It's, it's definitely an amazing place, guys. If you guys haven't checked out Sassy Sales Moms, make sure you guys go and click the link below. I'm going to put some links below to connect them to you. And go ahead and join. It's a really cool place. I myself in there as well. So I can definitely, rep for that. It really is a safe place that anyone can go, share their thoughts, and actually get a lot of, feedback and tips on their career growth. So I think that's absolutely amazing. And you've been, such a great role model, for people. You're teaching a lot of people, and you're doing it for free. You're even a mom, so I know you have great experience teaching even your children. There's a lot of lessons that people can learn from you. So I wanted to ask you as a final question, what does being a leader mean to you? And was that something that you're born with, or was it something that you had to learn?
That's, I think that in some ways you're born with being a leader, but I think I so innately I do feel like I was born to be a leader. That's what my mom and dad always said. But I also think you can learn to be a leader as well. Um, and to me, like being a leader is about caring about people. That's it. Like it's in my
Absolutely.
opinion, it's not complicated to be a leader. Like if you care about making people better, making people their best selves, you can lead them to do anything. And that's really it. It's people follow people who they believe in, who make them feel good about themselves, and um, I always had parents that made me feel so great. I guess my father was such an inspiration to me as a leader. So, um, you know, he led in a way that was empathetic, and he cared about the people. That's all it was. It was all it was ever about. When I think about my father and these layoffs that are going on right now, I cannot even imagine. Before he passed away, he was the chairman and CEO of Experian Worldwide. And he was so loved. And when people came to his funeral, it was just incredible. The people that came from every level of who he worked with. So it didn't matter what level it was because my dad cared about every single person. And it's important to think about that. Like when you become a leader who lose sight about the people and people that you care about, then you're not, what are you leading, you know? So that's, to me, that's all that leadership is caring about people.
Absolutely. I think that is like absolutely a good note for people to remember. And it just, it just reminds me of the mantra that that company had and that you have carried with yourself, is think of yourself as the customer. And I think that is a really, really good point to keep in mind. No matter, even if you aren't doing SaaS sales, just keep it in life. This is like something very good to remember. Think of yourself as the other person. Think of them as you, because at the end of the day, we're all human. We all go through the very similar experiences. So treat everyone as the way you would want to be treated.
Exactly. Yes, exactly.
That's so awesome. So, I want to thank you so much for coming on here, sharing your story and telling us all these experiences. I feel like everyone listening, is really going to learn a lot from this podcast. So thank you so much
Oh,
for coming
thanks for
on.
having me, Lauren. I appreciate it.
Of course, anytime. And make sure you guys check out the Sassy Sales Moms and follow her on LinkedIn. All her social media, all her content is superb. So make sure you guys do that. But thank you for joining today, and thank you guys for listening to One Percenters. I'll see you all in the next episode.